With me now, Congressman Byron Donalds, Republican from the state of Florida. Congressman, you've said, I'm quoting now from you, the only thing that stops aggression is strength. And I'm sure you're referring to Russia and what our approach should be. But you know, we're dealing with a madman here. And are you going to risk pushing this guy that far?
Look, I think the thing we must always be concerned about and understand is that Vladimir Putin is going to push regardless whether you actually stand up to him or you don't. And I think that's why you have to take the stance of actually standing up to this aggression. We should have done this months ago. Unfortunately, Joe Biden and under his leadership, he's late to the game as usual. But where we are right now is that we have to, number one, make sure that we defend NATO, and we have to be 100% committed to that. Number two, also helping the Ukrainians get the weaponry they need to defend their sovereignty. If you do nothing in the face of that, he will roll up Ukraine and he will start to look at other targets, because his thought process might be, well, if NATO and the West isn't going to do anything now, what else can I go get? That is where you must be strong in the face of aggression. It actually creates the deterrent effect that we need right now.
Speaker Pelosi wants an extra $45 billion for COVID treatment and recovery. What about an extra $100 billion for the Defense Department's budget? Why not? Is there any sympathy, any feeling in Congress that maybe this is a good time to ramp up our defense spending?
Well, actually, there's a lot of talk on the Hill right now about defense spending, about making sure not only do we have the necessary armaments, but that our allies have them as well. When it comes to more COVID spending, that's just ridiculous. Makes no sense. Look, the Democrats are trying to tell us right now that COVID's over, so why are we going to go spend another $45 billion on COVID, especially when there's still $500 billion unspent COVID money that was appropriated last year that's now starting to go out to states to backfill their budgets. I mean, the states in the country right now are awash in cash that was frankly printed here in Washington, D.C. They have money they don't even know how to spend, and she cannot spend more. It doesn't make any sense. It's only going to make our inflation problems worse.
But they will oppose an increase in defense spending. I mean, it's the left that runs the Democrat Party, and the left can't stand the military. So they're a split party on defense spending. I don't think you're going to get any more.
Well, listen, what I'm going to tell you right now is we cannot go down the road of more COVID spending. We already have inflation problems in the United States that will only get worse if we go down that line. We do need to make sure that our military is prepared, especially with what Russia's doing right now. We don't have time to waste.
We just got some video of Vladimir Putin addressing a large crowd in a soccer stadium in Moscow, I believe. Can we show that video, please? Because we've got it. This was just a few hours ago. He addressed this mass rally, tens of thousands of people there with the Russian Federation flags. And he said, Putin said, we will prevail, that we will prevail in Ukraine. Any comment on that, Byron?
Well, my first thing is that the reason he's got to go and rally the people that are maybe supportive of this offensive in Russia, while they're tamping down on the people who are protesting the war in Russia and arresting them. But he has to do this because they've taken heavy losses in that theater, and they need to make sure that they continues to rally support of the people in Russia to his side. Now, the truth of the matter is he's arresting dissidents who disagree with his actions. They don't have the right to protest like you do here in the United States. And so he's literally removing them from the streets. But this is propaganda from Putin to make sure he at least keeps some support for his efforts. The reality is that the Russians have lost far more troops and assets than they ever thought they would with this invasion into Ukraine.
Yes, well said. Congressman Byron Donalds, thanks very much for joining us, sir. We'll see you again real soon. Thanks a lot.
Anytime.
You got it. Now,